Rosamonte Especial. What's going on, guys? Dave Mate from YerbaMateLand.com and CircleOfDrink.com. Alright, so today we're talking about one of the foremost yerba mates in the world. This is a very popular yerba mate, Rosamonte Especial. Let's get into a little review. Right off the bat, let's see what happens. You know, this is just impromptu. I'm just drawing upon my 6 years of experience with yerba mates, living out in Argentina for 3 years, trying well over 100 brands of mate, and just building my palate to this wonderful herb that provides so many nutrients, so many health benefits, along with so many aspects that are similar with wine and cheese and scotch, whiskey, those sort of things. There's so much depth of flavor, so many profiles and textures and characters to each different mate that it's really fun just exploring this world. So what I'm doing is I'm preparing the mate the traditional way with the yerba mate gourd right here. This is one of our quantum cups over at CircleOfDrink.com. And basically it's pretty simple. You get yourself your Rosamonte Especial. This is the mate we're dealing with right now. Halfway in, invert the gourd, give a couple shakes. You're doing this to get you're getting the smaller particles to your hand, and you're getting the larger particles to the bottom here, which will act as a natural filter. Alright, so you got yourself a water hole right there. Then what you want to do is grab yourself some dummy water. Just room temperature water, add that in there, preserve the vital nutrients. Grab yourself a bombisha. I'm using a double action bombisha. This is a pretty nice bombisha from Argentina. It has the slits here. And then you cover that, put that over, stick that into your water hole. Now for this mate I recommend do not exceed 170 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. This mate likes a little bit on the cooler side of things. Alright guys, here we go. Rosamonte Especial. What's going on with this Argentinian yerba mate? Obviously it has a classical Argentinian cut. You have the palos here. You have a good amount of the powder. All this stuff in here. And then you have a good amount of the chopped up leaves, also known as the hojas. This is your typical Argentinian cut. Let's do a little close-up. Nice cut. Nice, deep, rich, green camouflage color. Really nice. Alright, let's give it a whirl. Really earthy, this yerba mate. The initial first sips, you're getting a lot of that rich clay earth. Muscular tones, bold tones, espresso, dark chocolate, pure cacao chocolate in its natural form, tobacco. A lot of people say that this mate has a high amount of caffeine in terms of the effects that you get from this. I would have to agree with that. This mate definitely does give you that burst of energy. It's aged for 2 years, and they actually use the barbecue method of smoking this mate, so you're definitely going to get some smoky factors. Now what I like about this, as it begins to develop and steep, some of the floral notes start to come out. Some of those cherry notes, vanilla notes, maple syrup notes, almost like buttery components as well. I get this sort of sensation of eating waffles with maple syrup with a little dab of butter on top. Very interesting mate. Complex fruity tones. Roasted bread. Almost like a nutty component as well. Let's take another look at that cut. As you can see, it's a very nice cut. This is the typical Argentinian cut. It's almost like a rustic cut as well, I would say. There's a lot of, variation between the size of the palos, the size of the leaves. You got a lot of these little splinter palos in here, these little tiny guys. I'm impressed with this cut. Very rustic. It almost looks like how it tastes. Super rustic. Super just rooty. Herbaceous. This mate is definitely not for, you know, the light-hearted yerba mate drinker. This is a mate that is for the seasonal drinker that wants to really get that rush, that boost of energy, that boost of cognition, all without the jittery effects and crashing effects that are associated with coffee. Nope, none of that when it comes to yerba mate. I highly recommend trying Rosamonte Especial. Really nice situation with this particular varietal. Let's have another cycle. A cycle is every time you actually add it to the gourd. So remember guys, when you're pouring your mate, you want to pour it directly over the water hole. Preserve this part dry every time. So later on, after about 15 to 20 cycles from this side, you take out the bombisha and put it on this side, and then you start to drink all this unused mate here. Or what you want to do is, if you want to skip some steps, after about 20 cycles of just preserving it on this side, you could just flood the whole top indiscriminately and just start to steep all this unused mate without having to switch the bombisha, which is known as a hemisphere switch. I got all roots and things like this. I was harvesting today some echinacea. Really powerful, medicinal. And of course, always representing Circle to Drink, circletodrink.com. You know, that's where we have a lot of our handcrafted blends. We're blending with about 60 different herbs on that website. Definitely check it out if you're looking for sort of complex blends with other medicinal herbs. But of course, yerbamateland.com if you want to grab a kilo of Rosamonte. Really good stuff. This is the Especial version. Alright, so, you know, this is my third cycle of this particular brand of mate right now, tasting it. It just keeps on getting stronger. At the same time, the floral notes continue to be more exposed, more prominent. So I would say this is a well-balanced mate. It's definitely strong. You're definitely picking up on that whole espresso character, black coffee character, French roast character. Very bold, very kind of poignant. It's interestingly enough, it's not very sharp and astringent. You know, you're not going to get that little zap at the end on the finish. It's pretty smooth, pretty well balanced. I would say this is a true medium body, potentially approaching a full body. So medium to full body yerba mate, classical Argentine yerba mate cut. Highly recommend this mate. At first, I wasn't a big fan of it a couple years ago, but I guess my palate has evolved to appreciate things that are more dank and robust, such as this mate, where you have a lot to figure out, a lot to kind of grasp with this mate. It's not a simple mate. I would say it's complex. Give it a shot, guys. yerbamateland.com. And this is Dave Mate. I really appreciate sharing this information with you. Have a good one, guys. Salud.